What up, everybody? You're now tuned into Candid Conversations. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another YouTube live stream. Shout out to my audio listeners. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. But today, we're going to talk a little bit about men and how more men need to tell their stories. Me and Shauna spoke with it briefly on it, a few times here and there, but never really went in depth about it and the importance of men telling their stories and the importance of boys seeing men in their natural element. So, like Sean say, for instance, the gym is your sanctuary. Your boys need to see you in the sanctuary. They need to observe you in your sanctuary. They need to see you in your element. If you a dad, you got hobbies, whatever. They need to see you in that element because seeing it, because you already know how boys learn. Boys don't learn from sitting looking at a computer screen. They learn from being hands-on. So you're a
Right.
carpenter, take them when you going to put carpet in the house. You're electrician, you do HVAC, whatever it is, whatever the hobby is, boys need to be present and more men need to tell their stories in all facets of life, from personal to professional.
Right. I
Yeah.
agree 100%, man. That's some of the stuff that just having my son for the summer, man. We've been doing a lot. I'm sharing a lot more content because one of my best friends, Brandon Floyd, man, he got on me about. He said, Sean, you need to put more content, more content, more content. About fitness stuff and exercises. So I've been trying to really saturate social media with a lot of different exercise content, man, because
I
there's a lot
noticed
of
that.
there's a lot of cool exercises, man, that I've done over the years, man. Really cool stuff, man. And I tell people all the time, there's no new exercises. This is exercises that you have not seen.
Yeah.
So, and just really elevating the conversation with my son about my craft. I mean, because my son knows how much work I've put into fitness, and how many years I've been doing it and how I fell in love with it, and at the age of 11. And I didn't get really seriously weightlifting. We were talking the other day. I didn't get seriously into weightlifting about maybe about 18 or 19. He's 16 and he's serious about it. So
Yeah.
it's good that, I never thought that what I do for a living and, my education and the level and all that, I never thought that he would want to uh, be a part of that. So I never pushed it on him. I never persuaded him. It's something I just kept doing it and doing it, and he just kind of gravitated toward that. And so now he's in love with exercise, man, and that makes me feel good because exercise is such a positive thing. There could be something negative that I could be doing that he would gravitate to. So I'm like, exercise is so fulfilling. It's so positive. It's more than just about looking good.
Yeah.
It's therapeutic. If you utilize it the right way, it's so beneficial for you as far as health preservation long term as you get older. It's just good in so many dynamics, man, and it creates a natural happiness feeling from within, that creates endorphins that makes you feel good, just naturally, man. And it says it's a self-love type thing,
Yeah.
it's something that, young men need to see. And I'm glad that my son actually sees this. And we've had stories like, how did you get from nothing to just being an entrepreneur, and I
Yeah.
paid my dues. I was in HR management for a long time, and then I just pretty much just walked off my job one day, and it's like, this is what I want to do. I remember my mom thinking I was crazy because it wasn't guaranteed and stuff like that. But I wanted to. When you passionate about something, man, you believe in it when nobody else believes in it, and that's what I tell my
Yeah.
son. Whatever you do, go all in. Don't do it halfway. Just go all in. And I share with him, and I think more men need to share with men, not
Absolutely.
just their sons, but their daughters as well. Their shortcomings. Every
Yes.
mistake that I've made, I've shared with that boy. He knows every mess up. He knows every lie I've told. He knows how I've cheated. He knows how I manipulated. He knows how I used to sell drugs. He knows how I've been locked up. He knows my 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 life story. And you can tell a
Yeah.
child your life story that can kind of save them from that path, so they know
Yes.
what to do and they know what not to do. And I made a post about him, and I said, um, we have to let our children know that we're not perfect parents, that we have
Yeah.
messed up. It's more than just buying them gifts and giving them things. We got to give them the gift of life, just teaching them life stuff. The
Absolutely.
biggest gift my mother gave me, because I didn't have a father around, she taught me about life. She taught me about life. She taught me about just the nuances between a man and a woman. Even though I screwed up royally, and in so many relationships or marriages or whatever, my whole thing about this is, as a man, we have to put it on us. We have to
Yeah.
take the accountability, responsibility of what we didn't do or lack thereof. We put it on us, and then boom, we move forward and we try to learn from it. Don't don't sway from the responsibility or accountability of what went wrong, so to speak. So I
Yeah.
let my son know. I said, I tell him all the time, I want you to be a better man than me in all areas, in all facets.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going through the struggles that I went through, working out. We got kind of like the same. He's real skinny, like I used to be. And I said, Jordan, number one thing you're going to need when it comes to fitness is patience.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing you're going to need. And I said, Jordan, that's why people fail in fitness. They'll start and they don't have the patience, because they have the microwave mentality. I want to get the right body now. I want to lose this amount of weight now. Da da da.
So,
You have
hey,
to.
quick question. Quick question.
Yeah,
How
yeah. What
many
you got?
women have come to you and said, "Hey, I want to look like this superstar lady," and she want to look like it in a short amount of time?
Oh man, I've been doing this for, man. I've been in fitness for 28 years plus, and I've heard it for years, man. And I have to break down to the ladies. I say, listen, yeah, I'm very educated in this, and this is my reputation in line. I'm not going to lie to you, because that's going to fall back on me. I
Yeah.
said the biggest results that you're going to see is within a 6 to 12 month period. That's the science behind exercise. And I said, you're going to see results, but the biggest ones are going to be, I said, you got to give yourself a year to see the biggest results. But you're trying to look like this, that's going to take years. These, you got to understand, you're looking at a woman who's been working out for years. She just didn't start a year ago, and all of a sudden she got this phenomenal
Mm-hmm.
body. That's not how it works. I said, you're fighting against internally what you have not done for years, what you've neglected your body for years, the food that you've eaten for years, the lack of exercises for years. You're fighting against having kids. You're fighting against the cellulite. You're fighting against the loose skin in your midsection. You're fighting against all these different things. That's going to take time, and you have to take patience. Be patient. But what I see in our in as far as society, no one has patience. They want to get they want to be snatched, and they want to get things tucked and sucked and plucked. But you can do all that, but you still can't get away. You still can't get around exercise.
Yeah.
You will
Absolutely. It's
you
yeah.
can't you That's one thing you're gonna have to hustle. You can't cheat the hustle and grind when it comes to that body, baby. You can get things sucked and stuff and all that stuff, or you can get all that stuff done, but you will never be able to cheat the hustle and grind of fitness. You're gonna have to do the work, because your body is not gonna look the way you want it to look. Yeah, things may be sucked in and things may be pulled back, but you're not going that when it comes to your musculatory system, you're losing. You can't
Yeah.
cheat that. Yeah, it
Right.
takes
Right.
time.
So,
Yeah,
like I know, and no, throughout your life, you've had mentors, coaches,
right,
men in your life, and that I think that what a lot of young men are lacking today. A lot of them don't have mentors, or even only coach they have is the coach, in whatever athletic event they want to participate in. But
right,
some of them don't even have that. So they get taught by either older people off the street, or
right,
social media is a big one now. They're learning from social media,
right,
but as far as those people who were in your life, and the same in mine, I think I learned more from them by them talking about their life, their failures, and their stories, and not just from whatever it was they were mentoring me on or coaching me in, but not only, okay, let's say I'm doing fitness with you. Most of our conversations aren't about fitness. Most of our
Yeah.
conversations are
Right.
about life.
Right.
So that's part of the
Right.
coaching right there.
Right. Right. And B, to piggyback off what you said, man, I growing up, I didn't hear enough of their failures.
Yeah,
I didn't hear a
that's
lot of
another
their
thing.
failures. I didn't hear a
Yeah.
lot. I didn't hear the men that came and went, the men that I knew and I came across that I know and I still know today that are well, probably in the 60s, 70s right now. Um, um, I didn't hear enough of their failures,
Yeah.
because as you're growing up from a boy, um, and I was having a conversation with a lady last night, and she, she was talking about, her man. I said, what you have to understand is that you had a mother and a father in the home. He came from a broken home. Michelle
Mm-hmm.
Obama said it best. Michelle Obama said it best. She said, us as women, we have to be more patient than men, especially if they grew up different from us. They are
Yeah.
still dealing with those things, and a lot of women don't take the time to be patient enough. You got childhood trauma, so does he. But you had two parents in the home. He didn't, so he learned bits and pieces how to be from his mother. And one thing I love about my mom is her transparency. She said, "Baby, I I don't I struggle with understanding a man, and I got to teach you and your brother how to be a man. Do you know the challenge that is? And there's
Mm-hmm.
not a man here. And as a woman, I struggle. And her transparency in telling me that she struggles and just trying to understand a man as a woman, and she's teaching boys how to be men. She said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything. I don't know what it's like to be a man, but I got to teach boys how to be men. My mom had these conversations like, you're going to struggle.
Yeah.
You're going to struggle because you're already behind the eight ball because there's no man in your life. You're going to
Mm-hmm.
struggle based off of that. And people don't think. They're quick to judge and slow to think. And they don't think, they don't understand, they don't comprehend, Brandon. I can't look at a woman who came from a broken home and be impatient with her. She's a woman, yeah, but there's a lot of things she went without. Yes, she is a woman. She's steady learning. She's still learning things as a woman because she went without so many things. But
Yeah.
the roles have to be reversed. We have to understand each other and we have to be patient with her. And patience is missing in so many areas of the world because everybody's got the microwave mentality. The no one has the patience to try to learn someone and try to understand them. But I was telling the young lady, I said, listen, he came from a broken home. You got to understand he didn't have a father. I said, my mom used to say this all the time. A man that's trying is everything in this world. A trying man is everything.
Absolutely.
A man that ain't trying, now, okay, now that dude is sorry. But a man that's trying, he is everything. Work with that man that's trying, opposed to that dude who ain't trying to do anything. So that's why I told her, I said, listen, this dude's a good brother. He's got some struggles. I can relate. I said, you have no idea how hard it is to grow up and to be a man, and you get pieces of how to be a man from other men, and then you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
learn from your mom, and then you're learning a little bit from the street and what you see in movies or TV that's fictional. You all over the place, man. You're so scatterbrained, and you're piecing yourself how to be a man because that dude that is your father is nowhere around to teach you how to be a man. And so I'm I'm living my life vicariously through my son, seeing what it would have been like to have a
Yeah.
father in my life, to be a father for him. And I teach him everything. I mean, when you talking about butt naked, raw truth, that boy knows everything.
That's
He
how it has to
knows
be.
all my mistakes because I said, Jordan, I want you to have the perfect formula and the perfect blueprint to do it 100 times. I said, you're going to go so much farther. I said, you're going to go further than me in life because you have a father, straight up off rip. That right there puts you ahead of the game. You have no excuse, Jordan. You have no excuse because your father is there and he's telling you his mistakes. And I wish as a kid, the men that I knew, I wish they would have told me more of their mistakes because I grew up, man, I used to be a compulsive liar, Brandon,
Hmm.
trying to hide this just for acceptance and approval
Yeah,
um and I thought a real man was a dude who had all these women and stuff. I went through all these phases in my life and these
yeah,
demons that I still have to fight this day. And you don't understand the battles and all these crazy nuances that you go through as just growing up, just trying to learn all these things. So but just sharing these things and these pitfalls and my shortcomings with my son, man, it's been paramount for him, man, because now he see that is the thing not to do. I said, be the opposite of me, be a
yeah,
better man to me. And I don't have no when it comes to that, I ain't got time for my ego, man. I ain't got time for my pride. That's my kid. As a man, I got to
yeah,
set my ego and my pride aside, man, because the ego and pride it ruins so many things in so many areas. If you and parents, I don't think they're more. They didn't. They not. I don't think they not more. They need to be more real with their kids, man.
yeah. Especially the
Yeah.
ones who act like, I hate the holier than thou.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I've
They're the
never been
worst,
in
man.
trouble, or I've never been into
Right.
anything, or
Right.
judging those, or not saying that not saying that they say that, but they act like it. You know,
Right.
one of the things that men before us, and it was programmed into them. So I can't
Right.
you can't really blame them because it was programmed into them for them to hold everything in, to
Right.
not talk about their failures because
Right.
it made you seem like a failure as a man if you talked about your failures. But we're finding
Right.
out the opposite is true. Being
Oh yeah.
self-aware, understanding what's going on, what's happening, talking about those failures. It's the only way you're going to get anything resolved, because if things are constantly happening and nobody's talking about it, it's going to keep
Right.
happening.
Yeah,
And
man.
we're going to keep. That's why we repeat cycles today.
Right.
They say history always repeats itself. I was watching a guy named Coach Greg Adams earlier. He said that society benefits off the ignorance and the lust of men. And I said, man, that really hit me. I said, because if you thinking about it, it's either they're benefiting off the lust of us, which women benefit off that, society benefits off that because of the way we move, the way we act, the way we conduct ourselves. You look at all these men, prominent men who are in powerful positions, and they've been put out because of their lust. They're not there no more. They've gotten in trouble. And then your ignorance, not knowing things, not understanding things, like Eddie Curry, former NBA player, no idea about marriage, the laws, or anything. Got married while he was in high school, and he's still fighting his ex-wife. He was only married 6 years to, never lived with her, only had one kid with her, and now she's coming after his NBA pension. That she's benefiting off of his ignorance and not knowing. That's why, men, you okay? Put it down. You failed, but you need to tell that story. Somebody needs to hear it so they don't go through the same things.
Yeah, man. And that's why somebody and I was telling my therapist about this, man. Just yesterday, I called him up and I said, man, he said, Sean, you know what, man? Uh, he said, because he said, Sean, I'm encouraging you to. He said, man, people don't know your story. He said,
Yeah,
Sean, your story. He said because some there was a young lady, man, and I actually blocked her when somebody put something negative on my post, man, and I'm like he said, Sean, there's so many people who are ignorant and very uneducated, and they will think your post is about them,
mm-hmm.
and it has nothing to do. He said, Sean, he said, because no one will know who my therapist is, and he follows me. So he said, dude, he said, man, you're deep. He said, you're a deep, intelligent dude. He said, to read your post, you have to have a certain heightness of intelligence to get what you're saying. He said, Sean, because a lot of your posts are very deep. And if the person isn't intelligent, they're going to get offended thinking it's this and that, and it has nothing to do with them. I said, man, I don't do personal jabs at people. If I got a problem with you as a man, and anybody who truly knows me, especially my family, they're gonna be like, no, Sean gonna be up in your face with it. He's not
Yeah.
one of them guys. I've never moved that way. He said, man, you have to ignore certain people. He said, but Sean, you put your things that you're struggling with as a man. He said, because black men need to see it. Black men need to read it. Black men need to hear it. He said, Sean, it's he said, your post is for black men who are struggling mentally. He
Yeah.
said, I encourage that. He said, Sean, because when you are struggling with something, you put it out and you post it. He said, Sean, that's healing. That's you
Yeah.
healing it. He said, Sean, you don't heal from what you hold from within. You heal from what exudes outwardly.
Hmm.
You have to bring what's within outwardly so you can heal. He said, Sean, the only way, and she said, and not she, but he said, Sean, healing comes from the inside out, not from the outside in. He said,
Hmm.
he said, people don't even understand the definitive meaning of healing. He said, remember when you almost lost your leg? I was like, yeah. He said, so they were putting the gouges in, right? He said, so how did your leg heal? And dude, it was so powerful. He said, how did your wound heal? Did your wound heal from the outside in, or did your wound heal from the inside out? I said, my wound healed from the inside out. He said, Sean, that's healing, and people in society have it backwards. This dude is so
Yeah.
powerful, man. He is so deep. I got to have him on our podcast, but he said, the conflict of
Hmm.
interest. He said, Sean, I'm your therapist. I don't, he said, man, when you're done with therapy, I would love to be on your podcast, brother.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he said, we want to keep that separate. And I
Yeah.
respect them because, that he said, Sean, it's just me, man. And I have the confidentiality. He said, you could
Hmm.
talk about me all day.
Hmm.
He said, I know you're not going to mention my name. He said, but you could talk about me all day. He said, because you'll be surprised at the people that I know.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm protecting you, you protected me confidentiality wise. And said, that's my job. He said, but Sean, healing, people don't understand. Healing is from the inside out, not from the outside in. And that's
Yeah.
why a lot of people walking around thinking that they're healed, and they're not healing at all. They're pretending. He says,
Yeah.
Sean, you got people who are miserable, pretending like. He said, Sean, one of the things one of the things he detests. He said, Sean, I hate that phrase. I'm living my best life.
Oh
He said, he
yeah.
said, he said, you do know how many people who lie and say they living their best life, and
Yeah.
they're tormented inwardly so bad. They not
Yeah.
healing anything. He said, Sean, here's the thing. If I got problems inwardly, how can I heal myself?
Yeah.
He say, Sean, everybody's screaming peace, 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 and they don't even know the definitive meaning of peace. You're never gonna have no peace because you haven't even went through the trials of healing inwardly, not even professionally. You ain't seen nobody, you don't talk to nobody, or whatever. He said, Sean, God gives us all common sense, and these people don't lose common sense. And they thinking they're healing. They talk about,
Yeah.
oh, peace this, peace that, peace that. He's like, peace. Healing is a part of peace. And if you're not
Right.
working on that, if you're
Right.
not going to get the necessary help you need, how are you healing? Who's healing you? Who's healing you?
Right.
And Brandon, you said he said this also. He said, Sean, we go through. He said they go through cycles. They're gonna go through another cycle. They're gonna go through another cycle. They're gonna go through another cycle. And Sean, they're never gonna have peace. He said, you know why? He said, peace comes from admittance, admitting that you have a
Yeah.
problem,
Self
admitting
awareness.
that self-awareness, admitting,
Yeah.
acknowledgement. Your due diligence is like, ownership that, I am messed up and I have hurt people. I have said some things I shouldn't have said. I've done some things I shouldn't have done. He said, but people paint the facade that they got it all right. And Sean, they're they're self-loathing and they're so tormented. And so he said, Sean, it's so sad to see. He said,
Yeah.
so keep speaking your truth, brother. He said, because that's you healing people. He said, man, the men that are coming in your inbox saying, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. I wish I had the bravery, the courage. B, every week there's a brother in my inbox saying, man, I wish I had the courage that you have. I wish I had the bravery to talk about like you talk about things. And I said, man, until you admit that you got internal struggles, you will never, ever heal. And you can't worry about what people say. I said, I
Yeah.
don't care that people talk about me, that I'm therapy. I go through therapy or whatever the case may be. I said, I needed the help. I said, man, because I battle things that I never battled before until my mother passed. And then everything that I suppressed came to the forefront. It all came out.
Yeah.
And God has a way of exposing what you're going through on the inside. It's going to come out one way or another. And sometimes if you do not take care of it, that people when people snap, that's what happened because man, they don't take care of what's going on internally, man. It's a dangerous thing. And I would my suggestion, I tell people, man, please get the help that you need.
Yeah.
Please get the help that you
Um,
need.
acceptance.
Yeah, man.
Acceptance.
Yeah, yeah.
Men accepting themselves for, for who they are,
Right,
accepting what
right,
is, and then seeing the things that can be changed, knowing
right,
that it's going to take work, but the things that can be changed, you can change it. It's gonna take work, but first, before that, you have to accept your circumstance, your whatever it is, the things that you can't change. So, like, say for those guys, then, like, say, take the dating market for example, and we're going to
right.
take this into relationships. But take the dating market for example. So, let's say you on the dating market, and they say, okay, I'm a short guy. Women all say, oh, he got to be this tall, he got to be that tall. They want a handsome guy. Oh, I'm not really that handsome. I'm average at best. Maybe below average. They want to do who's in shape. Oh, I'm not in shape. They want to do who's financially stable. I'm not financially stable. Okay, your height, unless you're gonna do that leg lengthening surgery, which I do not suggest, accept what you are and your height, man. Don't do that. Put on some platform shoes or something, but don't get no surgery. Please
Right.
don't do that. As far as how you look, hey, groom, skincare, maximize that part. But then as far
Hmm.
as your body, hey, I accepted how I look and I accepted how tall I am. But as far as your body, your fitness, and the financial part, you can work on that all day. It's gonna take
Right.
work,
Right.
but those are the things you can work on. So more men got to understand that, accept it for what it is. Okay, this is what it is. I can't change that. I didn't hit the genetic lottery, but I am the leader in my life, so I can control these parts of my life, and I can work on these things. Because what was happening is, especially with the young men, I told you that self deletion rate is very high with young men. It's because that feeling of no way out, that feeling of I'm not good enough, that feeling of I have no value, that feeling of I have no worth. You know,
Mm.
guys, men who've been through it, they've been there, they've been in those dark places, they've been on the edge of about to lose it all, take it all, or take themselves out. Tell those stories so those young men can understand. Say, hey, there's a way out of here. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a ladder over here. There's an exit over here. I'm going to
Right.
show you how to get out of this.
Right. Right. And that's why men need to tell their stories, man. I mean, for the young men out here listening, man, there's been times in my life I've been in dark places, feeling like, you're not good enough. You're doing everything you can and it's not enough or whatever. But me and Brandon, we were talking earlier, man, and sometimes, guys, you got to understand, um, you're never going to be good enough for the wrong person. You're never going to do
Absolutely.
enough, say enough, act enough, have the best. You're never going to be enough for the wrong person, and you have to see those red flags. If anyone who is tearing you down in front of your face, that is the wrong person for you. Any person who is non-empathetic or sympathetic to you or just belittling you or degrading you in your face, that's the wrong person, man. For the right person, man, they don't care. They just care about, you. They just care about being in your presence for the right person.
Yeah.
For the right person, it's not going to require you to be this and that. They're going to totally accept you for you with no judgment. So you can be your authentic self. But for the wrong person, you will always have to pretend to be something that you're actually not.
Yeah.
And that's for the wrong person. So young men, y'all young men that are listening, there was a time in my 20s I went through a dark place, and my mother pulled me out. She helped me to get out of that dark place. I was thinking that I wasn't good enough, and I wasn't this, and I wasn't that. I was this and that because of I went through somebody leaving me, and I thought my world was going to end. And it took a woman to let me know what my worth was when it comes to the women of the world. She says, Sean, what a person thinks of you, what they say about you, how they talk about you, how they treat you, it never determines your worth or value.
Yeah.
That doesn't determine your worth or value. Sean, you determine your worth and you determine your value. That's something that's within you. If that person cannot see your worth and your value, that's their loss.
Yeah.
That's their loss. And you can't waste time and energy in a person who doesn't see your worth or your value. Because what another person don't see, another a person, what one person don't see, another person sees a billion different things. And you have to cut your losses, and you can't worry about what you lose. I say, because sometimes as men, we have to make those difficult choices. At the end of the day, your self-respect and your dignity has to remain intact.
Yes.
And once you start diminishing your own integrity just to appease some person, listen, man, you don't have to seek the approval of nobody. You don't have to do that. And men, you got to understand, young men, you got to understand, for the wrong person, you will never be good enough. You don't have the
Yeah.
problem, they have the problem. You have to just, as a man, you know what? I'm better than this. I didn't had way better than this.
Yeah.
Why am I even dealing with this? You have to, men, you have to. My mom told me something in my 20s. She said, Sean, when she told me to look in the mirror, she said, boy, you got to remember who you are. She said, you got to remember who you are, son. Son, you got to remember the drop dead gorgeous women that you have brought before me. You whining over this female? She said, Sean, the woman from Paris, France, Italy, Spain, Sweden, England, Australia. Are, Sean, have you for she had and Brandon, she had to remind me of who I was.
Yeah.
Sometimes we will forget who. She said, baby, you got to remember who you are. You need to go and pull out some photos of what you've had in your past. Don't
Mm-hmm.
you worry about this person when you have had 100 times better in looks, everything. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You have to remember who you are. Don't forget about who you are, son. And when she pulled me out of that, I was 26 years old, 26, 27. She said, you got to remember who you are. And you have to show people who you are. She said, baby, never walk with your head held down low as a man. No matter what you go through, you hold your head up high. She said, because, baby, let me tell you something. Confidence has no competition, baby. I never forgot that. That
Yeah.
confidence has no competition. She told me that at 27 years old. You will see, sometimes I'll hashtag that in things. She said, baby, confidence has no competition. And when they be this, it's because when people be trying to get at you, because they know it.
Yeah.
They know you got the confidence, and
Yeah.
they trying to break your confidence. You can't break a dude's confidence who's got the reputation of the best, baby. It's impossible.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
like
you yeah, come on
the
now. Stop.
pickup artists, like the pickup artists and dudes who do game and they pick up women for a living. They talk about that, and they
Right.
talk about how you'll walk up on a woman and her automatic thing for a lot of them to do is to test you. say
Right.
something out of the way, say something to get you off your game. They say, because,
Right.
hey, look, this dude walking up on me. Yeah, he looks confident, but let's find out how confident he really is. I'm going to throw
Right.
this jab at him. I'm going to throw
Right.
that jab at him. I'm going to say this to him. I'm going to say that to him.
Right.
Outlandish, off the wall stuff just to knock you off your confidence to see, are you the man that you're supposedly purporting yourself in front of her ass? I mean, are you
Right.
that guy?
Right.
And one thing that I learned listening to men tell their stories when it comes to dating and marriage and relationships is that, men are the real romantics. I thought it was the other way around. I thought dudes ain't care nothing about that and don't care about any of that stuff, being romantic, being all lovey dovey and all that stuff. I just
Mm.
thought that was women. Women did that stuff. They were overtly sweeping romantic gestures, the what they said, rose petals and the bath water and all of that crap.
Right.
That's what I thought. But come to find out, no, that's men are that. And so what happens, men are the real romantics. Men lose themselves in the relationship. When they all in, like we talked about it, when you all in, you all in.
Mm.
I'm not, it's not one foot in, one foot out. I'm all in. And so sometimes in those all ins, men lose themselves. So when the relationship dies, it's like a real death.
Yeah, it's like grieving,
Yeah.
and that's something my therapist also brought up too. He's, we talked about like when you go through a divorce or you go through a breakup that with somebody, people. He said, Sean, people don't understand the serious dynamics of that. It's like a death. You go through a grieving process. If you really love that person, now if you was out there just playing with them, yeah, you'll be in another relationship in the next 6 months. But if you, she said, what I keep saying she because I'm so used to having a female therapist. But what he said, Sean, when a man goes through a breakup, who fell in love with somebody, the next person probably gonna go through hell trying to get close to him. It's gonna be like Fort Knox.
Yeah.
And once he gets his head back together, ain't nobody going it's gonna be so hard to penetrate to get in there because he's gonna be like, you know what? I'm not falling for the okey doke again. I went all in. I gave somebody my heart. It did not work. We didn't even I didn't even get a chance. We didn't even fight for it, and whatever. I'm not gonna pour all that energy and time and investment emotionally into somebody else for me to go through that again. And there's a lot of men walking around here dealing with that, and that's how they live their life. And they may have a phenomenal women, and for the phenomenal women out here who are dealing with a man like that, he the dude is the dude is he got hurt. He got
Yeah.
really, really hurt, and he loved this woman, and it didn't work out. So he's still grieving this woman. He still may be in love with this woman, who knows? But the
Yeah.
bottom line is, men will fight through they BS that we go through. But when we give a woman our heart wholeheartedly, and that thing don't work, I'm just gonna talk about me. When it don't work, you ain't gonna see me in no serious relationship with nobody. I'm sorry, it's just not gonna happen.
No.
I throw myself in work, and this is the conversation I've had with my therapist. I throw myself in work, I throw myself in fitness, I throw myself in everything else. But at the last thing I'm not going to throw myself in nothing that hurt me. I don't even want to be involved with nothing, meaning I don't want to be involved with no female at
Yeah.
all. To think about it, it's like churning my stomach. I get nauseous. I feel like I get sick to my stomach. I don't even want to deal with that. So I'm gonna throw myself in everything else besides that, because one thing for me, um, and that's a part of my childhood. I suffer with fear of abandonment that I found out in my 20s because my father wasn't around. So anything that just walks away from me and that just gives up on me, throwing the towel on me, I'm not finna rush to do that again. That's
Yeah.
one thing my mom always said. She said, "Boy, one thing you don't do rush jobs when it comes to your heart."
Yeah.
Because Brandon, I got married in my 20s. I didn't get married again, Brandon, to 20 something years later. So that lets you know
Yeah.
how I roll. I don't that love thing. I ain't telling you I love you, whatever, whatever, whatever. You can say what you want. You do You get in all the relationships you want to, because if I truly love the person, I can't give no commitment to nobody else. Not Brandon, it ain't gonna happen in 6 months. It ain't gonna happen in a year, bro. And that's just
Yeah.
me being honest and me being candid. Nobody knows Sean Patrick Taylor better than Sean Patrick Taylor knows Sean Patrick Taylor. My family members can attest to that. That dude don't be getting in those serious relationships. Like, that's not Sean. I have never been that guy. Because
Yeah.
if I fell in love with somebody, I fell in love with you, I really loved you. But for me to unravel from that hurt and that pain, I can't just dive into no serious commitment with somebody 6 months to a year and talking about, not even talking about man, who? I can't even spell marriage. What are you talking about? So
Mm-hmm.
commitment, what? I can't spit.
Kahoot.
No, yeah, I mean, that's not happening. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be straight up. If you looking for anything from me, I am not the dude. I'm sorry, I'm not the dude.
Yeah.
You can call me tainted and damaged. You call me I'll
Jaded.
be you can call me whatever you want to. I
Yeah.
don't care. But what I don't what I'm not what I'm going to protect is this thing right here. Oh, I'm gonna protect this
Yeah.
because once it's hurt, I don't play about that. You can say, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know how people be so in love with somebody and then all of a sudden, 6 months later they married to somebody else or whatever. I mean, I've seen it happen in my life, and I'm like, but my mom says,
But
Sean,
see,
them people don't know
that's what
what
I was
love
gonna say.
is. They don't know what love is.
I was
They
about to
just
say that, Sean.
they
You do
just
it. That's the
they
right
just
way.
they just jump from person to person to person.
Right.
Sean, that's the mo. Those are people who don't know the difference between feelings and love. Those people are in love.
Yeah.
Their love is feelings. It's not love. Because when you're in love with somebody, you can't even fathom trying to get into another relationship. That's the
You got
first
to
thing in
heal.
your mind. You got to heal from the inside
Yeah.
out, people. Got to, man.
Absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, you have to heal, and that's the way. That's how you should do it. Like after you get out of something serious, dealing with somebody for an extended period of time, you need to take time off. However long, if that relationship was
Right.
5 years, you need at least half that time. You need to be focused on yourself, not
Right.
getting into anything serious, man. You need
Oh
to take
man.
that time off. You
You
know,
have to. You have to.
and but one of the things too, and while men have to continue to tell the stories, we talked about, he say, like little by little more men are, but a lot of men are afraid, and
Right.
they, because a lot of them, their livelihoods and what they do, as far as what they do for work and stuff is tied to, they don't want to say anything that could affect that, and they may have families, they may
Right.
have children, things like that, so that's
Right.
understandable.
Right.
But little by little, more men who do have the freedom to do so are starting to do so. Um,
hmm
what we have to do, we have to fight back against the programming that's been given to all of us. We were programmed. It was programmed to, especially my generation and everything we watch. Because I can go back and look at all the old shows that I used to watch, and you look at those shows, it was programmed in us that men, as far as the father figures, most of the father figures, if you go back and look at all the shows and programs, they weren't strong, masculine, stoic men who were problem solvers, doers, and thinkers. They were kind of oafs and idiots. The woman was smart, and he just worked and came home and brought her the money and sat on the couch, put his hands in his pants, and was guzzling beer. That's what he did. He may go out with the kids every now and then, but for the most part, that's what he was, and that's the image that they gave off. But come find out, no, that's not what men are. They've given us this image of men versus what men really are, and because of that image they've given us, society has basically told women what men should be, not what they actually are. And more men talk about what we actually are, how we actually are. It's not going to sound just so terrible and so awful and so this and so that, and oh well, you're a man and you have this view and you're not on this page, then you're a misogynist. I'm like, no, I'm just a man. Okay,
Right.
now I understand if you have a problem with me, that most likely means you ain't seen high no hair of no man. You've been dealing with simps and soy boys, and that's not my problem. That's your problem. That's not me. That's not what I prescribe to. So as more men come out and say, hey, this is what it is. You got men now, you're starting to draw a line in the sand. Say, hey, if you don't want this, if you don't want to go along with something, It's very easy. It don't. You ain't got to be 6'9", 250, chiseled with $1 billion to be able to
Right.
be masculine and stand on your square and say no.
Right.
It's just that easy. Walk away.
Yeah.
Just that easy.
Yeah, man. And you know, being a man, man, you gotta make the hard you gotta make the hard decisions, man. You gotta make the hard
Yes.
choices. I mean, that's just that's just a part of being a man. It's it don't get no different than that, man. So,
Yeah.
I mean, listen, fellas. I mean, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, but at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for you, and just just keeping things the way you need to keep them, man. I mean, just
Yeah.
if it's not meant for you and it's showing you, and whoever she is, I mean, if she's not meant for you, she's just not meant for you, man.
Oh, before I forget, Sean, and then you can speak on this too. Um, Disrespect,
Mm,
understanding,
man.
disrespect, and what it looks like, because it
Mm,
isn't always overt and in your face. You know,
mm,
people disrespect you all the time, and you
mm,
not realize it sometimes. But
mm,
growing up, I watched men in my family and men that I knew be openly disrespected by their partners.
mm.
I saw it on a
Yeah.
regular basis. So what if I'm a kid and I see that growing up? What am I supposed to think about that? It's commonplace. It's normal. That's just how things are. That's just what you got to put up with.
Right.
Mama's unhappy, so the whole house is unhappy. Those just things you just had to deal with, not realizing that those men just didn't stand on their square and say no. They didn't stop the disrespect for whatever reason. Not judging them. Hey, they did what they had to do to survive, live their life, do what they had to do. Hey, it is what it is. But I know now, of course, that it was disrespect, and it's something that you should not take, because once disrespect starts, it doesn't
Hmm.
get better. It
Hmm.
progressively gets worse.
Yeah, it just grows, man. It's like a cancer, man. It just totally just gets out of control, and it just pours down into everything. Um, Here's the thing, man. I've never been openly disrespected by no woman at all. We've had our, we've had conversations behind closed doors, but I never was with any woman in my entire life that just openly in front of people and groups, or just on an outing or the mall or Walmart or wherever, just openly just disrespect me like that. I was very careful with the women that I chose with good upbringings when it comes to respecting a man. They're not going to do
Yeah,
that in front of a whole bunch of people. And if we got a problem, it's always going to be discussed behind closed doors. But when a woman just openly disrespects a man in public, man, this is shame and embarrassment that follows after that. I mean, that is something that's going to be continuous, man.
yeah,
And fellas, if you got somebody who is openly disrespecting you in front of people, Brandon said it. Brandon, all I can say is I got to pick it back off Brandon. It is not going to get better.
nope,
It's only going to get worse.
yep,
You
yep.
need to
It's
get
only
out of
gonna
that
get
situation. You need to get
absolutely,
out of that
absolutely.
situation. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just
man.
not
So,
cool.
and this was a good one here.
Yeah,
Gotta
brother.
we on yours next. So
Right.
we'll figure out a time. We'll talk about the topic and stuff like that. But
Okay.
what's your final thoughts about this?
My final thoughts, man, we need to speak up more. We need to definitely let our young men know our experiences and what we're going through, so they can make better choices, so they can see the different warning signs.
Hmm.
And here's the thing, man, we don't have to talk down about women or anything like that to get our point
Absolutely
across.
not.
We could just share what our experiences was and the bad decisions that we've made, so they can make better decisions. But we as men, we got to let these guys know our mistakes. We got to let them know what we're dealing with in the present. We got to let them know all these different things that we are battling with, even our internal battles that we're dealing with, and especially healing. You
Yeah.
know, just because you are dealing with something that you need to heal from, that doesn't make you weak as a man. It takes strength. It takes strength. My mother used to say it takes strength to apologize. It takes strength for
Yes.
it to admit something. It takes strength to say I'm sorry. It takes strength to live in a butt naked truth. It takes strength to render yourself vulnerable. Cowards run away from those things. And there's no strength when you run from things. That when you run from things, you know what that exudes? That's fear.
Yeah.
Fear equates to weakness. Fear and weakness go hand in hand. Strength is standing up. Bravery and courage is standing up. And you are
Yeah.
blocking out everything what people are going to say, think, and feel about you. And you're going to stand up for what you believe in, and you're going to stand up in your truth, because that truth, you have no idea, that truth can help one person. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Because if someone sees you with the courage of standing up in a bad situation, and you're in your truth, and you just in there, in your splendor, butt naked with it, you have no you may help a man can help you, a man can help a woman, or and a man. So you have no idea who you're helping. Because
Yeah.
there are people, man, that, man, now when I tell you, people always in my inbox, man, telling me thank you. I wish I had the courage, or you have given me the courage to
Mm-hmm.
to become honest and become true about what I'm dealing with. And these are men and women, majority men, but women too as well. There are people who out here appreciate that. You have no idea who you are inspiring.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of people that's watching you, that's going to be coming at you from a negative place, or whatever the case may be. That negative people are going to be there. We can't help that. But there's a lot of people who are struggling out here, who just pretty much needs to see somebody else doing it to get the um, just to get the umption, or just to get the bravest. Like, okay, if he could do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I'm trying
And
to
the
call.
more people who have thoughts and views that go opposite of what society wants you to have today, you need to speak up and speak out, because
Right,
the vocal minority, they loud as hell right now. I'm talking about they loud right now. They're so loud it makes it seem like, see, like there's certain women who are so loud, and the way they live and the way they talk, that it casts a bad shadow over all women. It's the same with some men who are
mm-hmm,
loud and they talk and they cast bad shadow over all men, because they're
right,
so loud in their dysfunction. They're so loud in their problematic ways. But
right,
if you have views that are opposite of that, speak up. Don't be afraid. Like you say, that's what takes true strength.
right,
You have all these. One of the things that I was pissed off with was when they overturned Roe v. Wade, and I'm not pissed off about that, because I don't care, women. I want you to do whatever you want to do with your bodies. I ain't trying to stop you from doing nothing.
right.
Live your
Absolutely.
live your life, live your truth, do whatever you want to do. I don't care. I care about my rights, which I have zero reproductive rights as a man. My issue was that all of these prominent men, athletes, entertainers, whatever, talking about, going in all this about the women and women empowerment, women this and women that. The issue I have with them is that when it comes to male issues, they are silent. They are
Yeah.
silent. Love LeBron James. Think he's the greatest basketball player to ever touch a basketball. That's my opinion. Some people, Michael Jordan. I'm a LeBron James guy.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of basketball, his political views and stuff like that, I want nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with it. Because when it comes to male issues, he doesn't speak on those things. It's a lot of those guys the same way. They'll bang the gong, but you won't speak on things for men. And it's disingenuous, because all they're doing is pandering. Because they'll
Right,
speak about women's stuff, but what are they actually actively doing for them? All it is pandering at the end of the day. So
right,
being a man, standing up for yourself, standing on your square, saying no, voting with your wallet, voting with your feet,
mm-hmm,
is how you need to be.
right,
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to take the disrespect. You don't have to go along with anybody's flow. You don't have to, I don't have to agree with your views. I don't have to do any of those things. I don't have to participate in your self-image. And
Exactly.
it seems like we as a country, we want to do that so much now to appease a small minority of people. But I don't have to participate in your self-image. No. Because one thing I do know, and you know this too, Sean, how can I have a great view of yourself when you yourself don't even like you?
Mm.
I've
Mm.
never understood that. It's people
Right.
it's clear you don't like yourself, but you
Right.
want me to like you. No, no, that's not how
Right.
it works. But men, you have to speak up. Tell more of your stories. More
That's
men
right.
need to hear. More people need to hear. Men and women will benefit from men telling their stories.
Exactly,
Hey,
man.
and for all my single mothers out there, I come from a single mother home. Put those boys around men. That's one of the things that helped me a lot. My mother kept me around men. She didn't let me be with the women all the time, hanging out, being with the women all in the house. Because my household, that Hooks household, it was number women in there mostly
Hmm.
anyway. My uncles was gone, granddaddy was gone. So it was mostly women at that point when I was coming up. So she
Right.
like, you be with your granddaddy, you go with your uncles, you go with your dad, you go over here, you go over there. Those are the things that helped me. And it kind of gave me a bit of a roadmap on this road to manhood. I've been able to piece it together from men, but it's not a substitute for having my dad in the home.
Exactly.
But even with that being said, put that boy around men, get him active, get him doing something. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter what it is, and it always doesn't have to be sports. Put
Right.
him in something that's going to give him systems, order, and structure, and it basically teaches him, and especially sportsmanship, teammates, how to coexist, how to bond with other men. He's going to need that in his lifetime. I'm telling you, it's very important, people.
It's huge,
Yeah.
man. It's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. With so many of our young guys are missing that. I talk to them all the time. I see them all the time. You could tell they're missing it. They're as a young man, you have a urge for masculinity. You're going to seek it out,
Oh
regardless,
yeah.
whatever. No matter at a certain age, it's going to hit you, and you're like, "Hey, I'm missing something. There's a missing piece here," and you're going to
Hmm.
go searching for it. And sometimes we find it in the wrong vessels. So,
Yeah,
hey,
man.
you got to
That's
instill it yourself, man.
that's real
But
talk right there.
I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Shout out
Hmm.
to Robin Brooks. Thank you for watching. And Cuzzo, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. I will be back. I'll probably be back later on today. I might pull a Sean today. He went live
Uh,
3 times the other day. I might have to put a few videos out there. He's trying to upstage me. So let me get on my grind for sure.
Boy, you crazy, man. You
I just
crazy.
said, dog. Man, but I appreciate it, man. Hey,
Yeah, man.
until next time, man. We are, oh, Sean, where can they find you? Yeah, I almost
Oh
forgot about
man,
that.
I'm all over, man. My personal Facebook page, Sean Taylor. My business Facebook page, Tailor Made Training for You. My private group in memory of my mom for imperfect, non-judgmental people. Gwen's Boys Mindset. The podcast I do, No Judgment Zone. You can
Mm-hmm.
find me. Brandon's on that show a lot. He's gonna be on it probably tomorrow. Sometimes we just got to get our
Yeah,
times right.
right.
That's You can find me on TikTok, TaylorMade 2169, Instagram at Driven Not Motivated 21. I'm all over, man. All
Yeah.
over. This
All right,
just was
man.
put in Taylor. Just put in TaylorMade. It'll pop up. Something gonna pop up.
Right up, man. Man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, but I will be
Right.
back with more videos. Man, we are out of here.
Peace, good
Peace.